Consumer Reports has published a list of the 60 least reliable used cars ever. And it got us thinking, which ones had the worst engines out of the whole sad bunch? Worried about buying a used car with a bad engine? Well, today's your lucky day, because we've narrowed it down to 10 cars with the least reliable engines, according to Consumer Reports. Let's get into it. Before we dive in though, real quick, I have to give a shout out to our friends at Auto Tempest. Auto Tempest is the place to go to find your next ride. Their platform crawls through all the major listing sites on the web and aggregates them in one easy place. So even though you won't be looking for any of the cars on today's list, head on over there and explore some other options. We're kicking things off with a big one. Literally. The 2021 Chevy Suburban may be a massive, powerful family SUV, but under the hood lies a ticking time bomb. Typically, American-made V8s like the ones in this Suburban have a rep for being bulletproof and cheap to fix. But for 2021, owners were met with failure after failure. We're talking major engine problems that stem mostly from its ancient blueprints, which had been historically extremely reliable until GM tried to make the thing use less fuel. These V8s still use pushrods with the addition of complicated lifters that control their displacement on demand system, technically called active fuel management. And those lifters came from the factory with design flaws. They collapse, get stuck, and straight up fail, leading to everything from severe engine misfires to complete engine failure. And if you catch the problem early, there are still major repairs involved to get it fixed. Consumer Reports ranks it just 7 out of 100. And even though there are several recalls for this vehicle, there are no official recalls for this major engine issue, likely because of the cost involved with potentially replacing engines in every single one of them. Worse still, GM's V8s dating all the way back to as early as 2005 have the problem, but the 2021 model year Suburban seems to have it the worst. The problem is so widespread that it has led to a class action lawsuit that still hasn't seen any accountability as of yet. So, if you're eyeing a 2021 Suburban, maybe stop doing that. Next up, we have the 2019 Audi A6, a luxury sedan with a notorious reputation for alternator failure and major engine issues. Audi's 2 and 3-liter turbo engines promise impressive performance, but unfortunately, they come with some significant electrical and mechanical concerns. One of the biggest complaints centers around the alternator, which can fail without warning, causing a complete shutdown of the car's electrical systems. This can leave drivers stranded, unable to restart their car. And even worse, models built this year have been known to have bearing issues, piston issues, and bore score. And that, my friends, will lead to engine replacement. Obviously, that's an extremely expensive repair if not under warranty, but even the smaller repairs like that alternator we mentioned are going to cost much, much more than the typical part, because, well, Audi. It's not hard to see why the A6 got such a poor Consumer Reports score, and if you're looking to pick up a luxury sedan, the A6 might be tempting with its plush interior, handsome looks, and beautiful digital displays. But it's one that could leave you stuck with thousands in repairs well before you hit 100,000 miles. Go for an older 2013 to 2016 A6 with that supercharged V6 instead. Moving on to the minivan segment, the 2018 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid was supposed to be a breakthrough for eco-friendly family vehicles. However, it's anything but reliable. Now, this one might not technically be a bad engine pick, but it functions as the same failure. Because the main problem for these vans is the EV battery from the hybrid system. This isn't just a minor issue, it's a total catastrophe for owners. The battery can fail at low mileage, rendering the hybrid system inoperable and leaving the car stuck in limp mode. Considering that EV batteries cost thousands of dollars to replace, this can make the Pacifica Hybrid one of the most expensive minivans to own in terms of long-term reliability. Chrysler did issue some recalls, but the problems persist. Also, because of that battery pack, the Pacifica needed a plug-in charger, and there were reports of fires stemming from these charging ports, which also prompted another recall from Chrysler. Yikes. And the Consumer Reports reliability score reflects all that, with a record low of just 5 out of 100. If you're shopping for a used minivan, you might want to think twice about this one. Up next, we're staying in the Stellantis family with the 2018 Jeep Wrangler. Man, 2018 just was not a good year for him, huh? Anyways, the Wrangler is beloved for its rugged off-road performance, but this specific model year has left many owners feeling stranded, both on and off the road. Consumer Reports' reliability score for the Wrangler is only 11 out of 100, and they weren't lying. One of the biggest complaints has been engine oil leaks, which can lead to overheating and potential engine damage if not caught in time. In some cases, the leaks are paired with cooling system failures, meaning your Wrangler could overheat and leave you stranded far from help. On top of that, electrical issues with the engine, which cause misfiring and stalling, have been widespread. Even die-hard Jeep fans have been left frustrated, with some needing major repairs within the first few years of ownership. So, while the Wrangler may be a beast on the trails, it might not be the best choice if your goal is to, actually get back home again. Next up is the 2017 Buick Encore, a relatively small SUV that has some big issues. The biggest culprit? Turbocharger failure. Buick's 1.4-liter turbocharged engine sounds great on paper, but many owners have reported turbocharger failures well before the 100,000-mile mark. When the turbo fails, you're left with a sluggish engine that struggles to get up to speed, and the engine's computer has to do its best to adjust the air-fuel mixture itself to regulate the lack of boost until you can get it to a repair shop. And when you do get there, if it's not under warranty, turbo replacement costs can easily run into the thousands. Additionally, ignition coils are a known fault and often lead to erratic engine performance and even complete engine shutoff. And that's all before we even start talking about timing chain or engine sludge issues. Consumer Reports knows all this, and that's why they gave the Buick an abysmal reliability score. For anyone looking at a Buick Encore as their next SUV, beware. You might end up paying more for repairs than the car is actually worth. The 2021 Kia Soul is famous for its funky design and affordability, but their engine dependability record is anything but fun. And to be completely honest, it might be the most severe on this list. I mean, check out that Consumer Reports reliability score. This model has been plagued with engine failures, with some owners needing complete engine replacement after just a few thousand miles. The major flaw is from the factory piston rings that seal the oil out of the combustion chamber and keep compression. They malfunction easily and can cause major cylinder wall damage. There was a recall for this, as well as oil leaks that were known to cause fires, but it doesn't stop there. Problems with the car's auto start-stop system have also been reported, which, when faulty, can cause the engine to stall at traffic lights or even fail to restart altogether. Luckily, you can get a new engine for free if you have an intact warranty, but it's not worth all the hassle for a car that isn't exactly the best in class, even when it's working properly. And owning one without a warranty, well, these kinds of issues will leave you with gigantic repair bills. So, if you love the quirky design of the Soul, make sure it's not the 2021 model year. Or just get something with a rock-solid reliability reputation instead. Subaru enthusiasts are known for their intense loyalty, but that dedication can be tested when faced with the possibility of an engine failure that might set them back over $8,000 in repairs. Both the turbocharged and naturally aspirated versions of this compact crossover have had problems. Many Forester owners have reported oil consumption issues, with most of them mentioning their engines burning oil despite no visible oil leaks, sometimes as bad as having to add oil at every single fuel stop. Fortunately, dealerships replaced quite a few of these engines under warranty, but avoiding such headaches in the first place by, just choosing something more reliable from the get-go is more preferable. Another common issue reported by 2012 Forester owners is the check engine light triggering due to low catalytic converter efficiency, a problem that is often spurred on by an engine that burns oil and can lead to failing state emissions tests. According to Consumer Reports, the 2012 Forester ranks as the fourth most likely vehicle to require an engine rebuild, typically occurring between 81 and 129,000 miles. Fourth. If you're a fan of Hyundai's SUVs, you might want to steer clear of the 2014 Santa Fe. This model is notorious for engine knocking due to damaged bearings that can result in complete engine failure. Many owners have reported that the engines start knocking early, and the problem only worsens over time. Consumer Reports has tracked many of these customer complaints and subsequently given the Santa Fe a 20 out of 100 for reliability. Though, if I'm honest, it should probably be even lower. It all stems from oil leaks that drip onto the exhaust, which can be sneaky because the oil gets burned away and leaves no trace of an issue, often leading to engines with no oil and then knocking and then, well, kaboom. Many owners have had to shell out for full engine replacement, which is extremely costly. But Hyundai did issue a recall for the problem and replaced a ton of engines for customers at the time. The issue is so severe that Hyundai has faced multiple class action lawsuits over its Theta 2 engines, which only recently got settled. If you're in the market for a used SUV, skip the 2014 Santa Fe, unless you want to be hit with massive repair bills. Now, you'd think a newer model like the 2022 Volkswagen Tous would be free from engine issues. I mean, these are basically brand new cars. But this is not the case. This compact SUV has been plagued by major engine failures and electrical issues. It's been so bad that Consumer Reports couldn't justify giving this car more than a 5 out of 100 in reliability, matching that Pacifica we talked about earlier and making it by far the worst in its class, coming in last place in Consumer Reports studies. Owners have reported that the engine stalls at stoplights and sometimes fails to restart, leaving them stuck in traffic. Even worse, in some cases, the engine shuts down entirely while driving on the freeway, leading to potentially a dangerous situation. There's also oil consumption concerns from the breather system, turbo seals, and of course the piston rings. And several reports of transmission problems, from rough and jerky shifting to straight up failure, not to mention any of the infotainment glitches. Volkswagen has issued some software updates and a recall, but it feels like a band-aid on a gunshot wound. The 22 Tous is one of the easier ones to decide against. Volvo might be known for its impeccable safety record, but when it comes to engine reliability, several recent models fall flat, and the 2015 V60 has fallen the flattest. The main issues come from faulty piston rings. Once those go bad and the engine stays running for really any time at all, the insides of the thing quickly turn into a glitter factory, leading to headaches and possibly huge repair bills if you're not lucky. Much like the Santa Fe or the Kia, V60 owners have had to replace entire engines because of this issue. And what's more, one owner reported that they had to replace both the main and secondary battery 6 times in total over their ownership. That's insane. And you know what else is insane? The Consumer Reports reliability score. Not only did it receive a 19 out of 100, but it ranked dead last in reliability amongst its competitors for the 2015 model year. So maybe just go buy an old 240 wagon instead. Those things will still be running when the ocean's dry. So that's a wrap on our list of 10 truly terrible engines in cars that you will definitely want to stay away from if you value your bank account. But we want to know what other cars you would put on this list and what engine nightmares you might have encountered with them. Otherwise, make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out some other ideal content right over here. My name's Trav. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all with a fresh video next week.